A series of unrelated twists by Dead Jimmy. Chapter 3. Gotcha. Freeze. Florence hears the word and freezes immediately. Everywhere is dark. It's nighttime. The only thing providing light is the flashlight that the police officer is pointing at Florence, who is standing, facing the railing on the bridge above the large body of water. Drop the log of wood on the ground beside you and put your hands in the air. The police officer continues. I don't think I should do that. Just let me throw it in the water and leave. No need to make a big deal out of nothing, Florence answers, shakily. I'm only going to repeat it once and afterwards I will take all necessary measures. Drop the log of wood on the ground beside you and put your hands in the air, the police officer repeats warningly, with the sound of him unholstering his gun following. Okay, don't take out your gun, Florence says in panic. I'm dropping it now, she gently drops the wood on the ground beside her. And now I'm raising my hands. He gently raises her hands. The police officer points his flashlight at her hands raised up in the hair, and they are covered in blood. The day had started like a normal day for Florence. The 28-year-old university dropout hits the snooze as her alarm goes off. She struggles out of her medium-sized bed tucked in a small corner in the very small room. She drags herself into the bathroom, brushes her teeth, and takes her bath. 40 minutes later, she is dressed and ready to go to work. She gets to work at the supermarket, where she works as a sales personnel and resumes her shift. The shift went pretty much as it always went. Encounter nice customers. Encounter mean and entitled ones. Encounter the ones that always leave huge tips, and so on and so forth. By 4 p.m., Florence's shift had ended, and she goes back home to recharge before going to the club later in the night to unwind. Florence napped her routine 2 hours nap amongst others, and by 10:30 p.m., she is already out of the house and headed to the club. She had told herself, I'm just going to do what I always do. Go to the club, drink a few, dance like I'm going to die tomorrow, and if I am lucky, maybe meet some guy who finds me attractive and wants to have a relationship with me. Or a fling. I'll take anyone that comes my way, and then go back home and sleep and refresh for tomorrow. I hope nobody tries to fuck my day up. Florence enters into the club, and it has already started booming. She squeezes her way through the crowd of dancers and drunkards to the bar. She finds a seat and buys a drink. As she takes sips, she stares at other clubbers on the dance floor, having the time of their lives, and wonders to herself, I hope their lives are as miserable as mine. I just hope that they are not here because they have good reasons for it. You know, like maybe they had spent the whole day in their well-paying corporate jobs or their dream jobs and have made a ton of impressive money for the day and are just relaxing in the club to wear off the stress of the day before going back to it tomorrow. I hope not. I hope they are losers like me who dropped out of university because I just wasn't feeling it and decided to start a business without any experience at all, only to end up losing all my capital and becoming broke. Florence was raised right. Born in a devout Christian home, she grew with those beliefs even up to the end of her secondary school years. She, however, began to mix with the wrong peers during the 1-year period she spent at home before finally applying to universities and getting admitted. She began to sleep out carelessly and not care what her parents said. She would steal from her parents to buy cigarettes and alcohol for herself and her new peers. She even began contemplating whether or not to go to the university to study to become a doctor, which she had dreamed about almost all her life. Her parents were able to convince her, and she managed to apply to university and got admitted to study fashion. It would probably be the easiest thing to study, right? She thought to herself. She, however, dropped out in the first semester and decided to start her own fashion line, which did not even live up to 2 weeks, and all her savings and investments from unwilling parents and family friends disappeared, and soon she was closing down her business before it even began to see the light of day. Somehow, and for some reason unknown, her peers saw no need for her and abandoned her. She was all alone. Shame couldn't let her go back to her parents' house, so she managed to source out some money to rent a small room with a small bathroom, which she had been managing since her problem started. If only she had just gone along with the plan. Study medicine in a university and become a doctor. Maybe her life would be better than it is now, but it isn't. She is a 28-year-old university dropout who works as a sales personnel in a small supermarket where her salary is barely enough to make ends meet. She looks away from the happily dancing clubbers and focuses on her drink. Florence, is that you? A drunk female voice asks. Florence looks and recognizes Judith, a former university mate. It is you, Judith says. Hi, Judith, Florence says unenthusiastically. Wow. I didn't even know you could afford to come to a club, or are you here with your pimp? I assume you are a sex worker now, since you most definitely do not have anything tangible going on for you, Judith says. Florence takes a deep breath. Judith, you're drunk. Leave me alone. I may be drunk, but I am telling the truth. You dropped out of uni thinking you could do better, but you flopped, and here you are all miserable, acting like the world is responsible for your predicament. Judith continues unapologetically. Florence is already boiling on the inside, but she manages to stay calm on the outside. I'm just going to ignore you, Florence replies. Yeah, well, you should. Lose it, Judith says mockingly and laughs brazenly before walking away. The audacity that bitch had to insult me. How dare she? Florence thinks to herself as she walks back home alone in a dark street. I wish I had broken a bottle on her stupid and ugly head, Florence says angrily. She walks a few more minutes and surprisingly sees Judith sitting on the ground by a wall. She is really drunk and is almost unconscious. Oh, look who it is. The bitch, Florence says. Just ignore her. She thinks to herself and continues walking head straight. Hey, loser. Drunk Judith calls out to Florence as she sights her. I'm talking to you, loser. Look over here, Judith continues in a loud voice. You are the loser to me. You are literally drunk and almost passed out on the road at an odd hour, Florence answers. But at least, I am going to go back to my home where I have my degree, and tomorrow morning, I will be dressed to go to my company where I work as a managing director. You are the loser. All right. Fuck it. Florence stops walking. She pauses for 10 seconds and then turns towards Judith. She fortuitously finds a huge log of wood and hits Judith on the head sporadically about 6 times. So much that the sound of Judith's skull cracking open is heard. Fuck, did I just do that? Florence thinks to herself. Fast forward to the present. Florence, out of panic, decides to hide the murder weapon. Her prints are all over it. She didn't touch Judith at any point during the day, so nothing on the victim's body can be traced back to her. At least she thinks so. She just has to get rid of the murder weapon. We're better than the large river between this town and the next town. No one would think to look there for the murder weapon. Plus, the log is very heavy. It would sink right in. This plan may have worked if the police officer on his night shift hadn't seen a woman suspiciously standing by the railing of the bridge, looking like she is about to jump into the water and take her own life.